everyone, and welcome once again to The View from the Midwest. It's time for another St. Louis FC post-match edition, so let's get right into it. Well, it was a pretty decent night overall for St. Louis FC. As most of you know by now, if you're watching this video, you probably saw the game or saw the match statistics or what have you. So you know that St. Louis FC got a 2-2 draw on the road against Oklahoma Energy FC. It was a decent game, although it did not start off that way because St. Louis, again, the defense, for whatever reason, just can't seem to get off to very good starts, whether you want to say it's the goalkeeping or the defense. As a goalkeeper, I don't necessarily see the goal that was given up as being Mark Pace's fault, but it wasn't necessarily his finest hour on the attempt either. It was a situation where basically he kind of saw the ball late, which didn't give him much of a chance to go down for it. Other people will say, well, he should have been able to still save it. It was close to him, so it was a difficult shot to deal with. That said, regardless of how you feel about it, St. Louis FC put themselves in a bad position going down by the score of 1-0 very early in the match. Before that, there was a real feeling out period. The game had basically was in its still in its infancy. So it wasn't the time of game to be giving up a goal that early. But I like the fight back from St. Louis FC. St. Louis FC did have the wind with them in the first half, so that aided them quite a bit, but they used that to their advantage, and they ultimately ended up getting a couple quick goals right after that, not staying down by a goal for too long. They got the equalizer on a corner kick from Vince Cicerelli. Again, he seems to be really settling into this team incredibly well, making a case that he should be the starting forward for this team even when Herrera comes back. Perhaps we even see maybe a switch of formation and go with two at the top. That's a question for a different time and something that Coach Schilly will have to answer. But Cicerelli is really doing his best right now to solidify himself as the starting striker going forward, or at least one of the attacking options in this team, regardless of how they want to line everybody up. Then they get another goal just a few minutes later, again kind of coming off of a set piece, backside this time, very similar to the first one, although it came off the near side on the second goal, just kind of tapped in on that near post, and it ultimately ended up 2-1 St. Louis, and we thought that it was actually going to stay that way for a little while, and unfortunately it was not to be so. Oklahoma Energy managed to find that tying goal. It wasn't the best goal to give up coming from the place on the field that it did, but it was a heck of a kick. I mean, apparently the kid that took it was only 18 years old, and he just managed to put a good foot through it, had a lot of arc on it. The wind might have caught it a little bit coming in the second half, but it was a fantastic strike. There was absolutely nothing that Mark Pace could do about it, and ultimately that's what it would end up finishing at 2-2. Looking at the game against St. Louis FC, if you want to look at the negative side, they didn't start very well. There were chunks in the second half where they didn't play very well. Now, obviously, when you've got the wind blowing the way that it has been here in St. Louis, obviously it was doing the same thing down in Oklahoma City. When you've got that kind of wind going one direction or the other, it's going to affect the game. But just as an overall section, it wasn't the best we've ever seen from St. Louis FC in chunks here or there. But on the positive side, you like the fight back from the team. You like the fact that they managed to put 2 goals in. You like the fact that they had a lead and they managed to carry that lead into the half. They played well enough in the second half that if not for basically a strike out of nowhere, a bolt of lightning from the blue coming from Oklahoma FC, where they were probably about 30 yards out, St. Louis honestly could have won this game, and there were a couple chances, obviously, that they missed, hitting the crossbar once, hitting the post once, coming close on a few opportunities there in the second half as well. So there were chances for St. Louis FC to win this game, and despite the fact that they didn't play their best soccer that we've seen out of this team, and again, we go back to all those excuses that a lot of us, including myself, are getting a little tired of, but you're trying to incorporate new players into this team, still trying to get everybody up to speed. You've had a few random injuries that have happened already. Hopefully that already happened last season. Hopefully that's not going to be another telltale sign of how this season is going to go. But you're still trying to get everybody on the same page, and perhaps they're starting to do it. They picked up a win in their last game. They got an important road draw here, and now they get to come home. I made a mistake of saying they were coming home last week, and it just wasn't keying in my brain that they still had one more match. But now they literally are coming home. So I hope to see all of you out there. I know me and my wife are going to be at the home opener. Should be a really fun atmosphere. I know it's going to be packed. Home opener. St. Louis always shows up for those, regardless of what sport it is. And having the fact that it's soccer as well, with all the Luligans over in the corner, it's going to be a great atmosphere. And I fully expect St. Louis FC to pull off 3 points in that game. It's going to be difficult. It's not an easy match by any stretch of the imagination. But I think if St. Louis FC can carry the momentum that they've built over the last couple games into that home opener, I fully expect to see 3 points on the standings after next week. That is the view from the Midwest. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Follow us. We've got all sorts of stuff. You want to check out some of the stuff that I write as well. I write for the Blues fan site called bleedinblue.com, so check that out as well. I've also got some videos on here that go up on that website as well. So follow me around. Like to keep the conversation going. But until the next time, I'll see you then.